All right. It looks like we're live. All right, guys. What we'll do is we'll see who rolls in tonight. I just figured I'd do a quick live and hopefully answer questions from people as they pop up. This is my first time doing a live from YouTube and not from StreamYard. So we'll see how this works. All right. I see we got the chat going there. All right, guys. So in the chat, the easiest way to do this is to drop questions in the chat, and then I'll do my best to answer your questions. So if you have questions about quitting cannabis, quitting nicotine, quitting adult media content, all the things that I help people with, I'd be happy to hop on that with you. And for those of you guys that come here tonight and you enjoy the conversations that we're having, we have some really cool updates ahead for the channel. And I put a link in the video description so you can kind of stay in the loop on that stuff. But in the chat, guys, start dropping questions. A lot of brain fog. Okay. So when it comes to brain fog, quitting substances, this is a very common symptom. One of the first things I tell people is this is a withdrawal symptom. So you want to start with the mindset, right? Withdrawal is your body going through detox. Withdrawal is your body healing. Okay. It's your brain trying to make sense of the last few weeks, the last few months, the last few years, or even the last few decades that you've been struggling with this addiction. Okay. So, first, just understanding why you have brain fog. Other reasons why you might have brain fog is you might be suffering from insomnia after you quit smoking weed, right? Maybe you're not eating that great because your appetite's all screwed up. Just by understanding why you're experiencing brain fog can make brain fog a lot less anxiety provoking. So we want to start there. Now, things to actually help with brain fog, aside from the mindset stuff, is you could look at the supplement KSM 66 ashwagandha. You could look at N-acetylcysteine. I think that one's even better for helping to fight brain fog. If it's nicotine that you're quitting, you could look at using a low milligram nicotine patch, and that can help with brain fog symptoms. Cold exposure can help with brain fog. Gentle exercise can help with brain fog. There's a lot of different things, but I think you have to start when it comes to brain fog with just having a base understanding of why you're experiencing it and realizing that eventually it will go away. You have to think your body is actively detoxing a drug. You're under physical stress, you're under psychological stress, and that's going to mix the brain up a little bit for a few minutes. It sucks, but it's part of the process. What's my opinion on someone using medical marijuana instead of taking medications with lots of side effects? Sauce Boss, I'm all for it. I think a lot of people misunderstand me. I have nothing against using any substance. I don't care what the substance is. Medical marijuana, some more hardcore drugs, some more soft drug. I don't really care. If the person's getting legitimate benefits from it and it's improving their quality of life, I think they should continue using it, right? But just because it's medical marijuana doesn't mean that you can't get addicted, doesn't mean that you can't suffer the consequences of a substance use disorder. And in some cases, someone might be using medical marijuana, but the consequences of substance use might outweigh the medicinal benefits. And that's really what I'm focused on with people. But like, right, I'm an addiction recovery coach. I'm a chiropractor. I mean, we sell CBD products. We sell CBD creams. I mean, I've referred people to medical dispensaries before for pain management when it comes to cannabis. So I'm certainly not against that. 124 days clean, thanks to myself and your channel. That's right. That's what it's all about. It's all about that. Props, Nord Fox. Jerk it, last brain fog jokes. Yeah. 4 years clean from drinking and 2 years off of vaping. That's awesome, Sauce Boss. That's great. That's a massive accomplishment. And I think here's another thing too. Sometimes people will reach out to me and they'll be like, I've quit opioids and I've quit drinking alcohol and I've quit vaping and now I got to quit cannabis. And I always start with asking them, like, okay, why are you quitting cannabis? Are you quitting because you saw my channel and you heard about my experiences with cannabis addiction? And now you're nervous that you got to quit that and you just feel compelled to be completely sober? Because if that's the case, like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Quit for your own reasons and make decisions surrounding substance use based on your own reasons and your own life experiences and your own negatives and your own positives associated with that substance use. So props. Um, Yeah, exactly. People get addicted to medicines all the time. That's right, Chatsworth. Right? Just because something's medicinal, and listen, I could most drugs, most pharmacological drugs start with a plant, okay? Right? Like people always say to me, like, marijuana is plant medicine. Yes, it is. Most pharmaceutical drugs start with plant medicine, right? Cocaine comes from a plant, tobacco comes from a plant. Just because it's a plant, just because it's used medicinally doesn't mean it doesn't have side effects. And look, here's the reality. When something's truly effective, when it really works, chances are it's going to have side effects, right? Like even supplements, if a supplement is really effective and it works, chances are it's going to have negatives and drawbacks to it. Um, Typically, what I find is that if you're using a product and there's not some drawback to the product, chances are it's not that effective. That's just the reality of things. Okay. Um, let's see here. Young dude, 3.5 years clean, 40 days nicotine cold turkey. It's the worst cravings and detox I've ever gone through. Been smoking for 14 years. So yeah, young dude. I mean, here's the deal. Like, if you're really struggling that much with the nicotine withdrawal, use a low milligram patch if you have to. Yeah, you're going to fire up some of those nicotine receptors again, but it's probably going to offset some of those harsh symptoms that you're experiencing. I mean, 40 days, you're well beyond the detox phase of nicotine. I mean, the detox phase of nicotine is about 5 to 14 days. So at this point, I would tell you it's more just the neuroanatomy and your brain rebalancing. If you want to stay away from the patches, again, check out KSM 66 ashwagandha or N-acetylcysteine. Not to constantly plug my own product, but like there's a reason why I made a chewing gum product with those two ingredients in it to help people with cannabis and nicotine withdrawal. Kick it, crave less chewing gum. You can Google that and check it out. Um, all right. My best friend that I began smoking with as a teen also wants to quit, but can't deal with the detox. He's a pro poker player. I've worked with many professional gamblers over my years, or I'll say poker players. He can't go through the withdrawals and also do his work. What are his tips? Here's my tip for your friend. Like, okay, he can't get through the withdrawals and do his work, but can he survive addiction and get through his work, right? Like, if he wants to quit, there's a reason why he wants to quit. And that's because some aspect of his life is presumably becoming intolerable. And how much longer or how much further can your friend, push the envelope in active addiction before everything falls apart, anyways? Right. So so many people will face withdrawals and they'll think, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And they lose sight of the long term outcomes of sobriety because they're focused on the short term outcomes of sobriety, which suck. It's usually withdrawals. But like those will pass. And I again, like I could tell you, your friend, it's just a major mindset problem because if the withdrawals are really that big of an issue, then we could talk about some type of medical detox protocol to help lessen those withdrawal symptoms, and that would easily take the edge off. But in your friend's case, I'm 100% positive that's a mindset issue. The other thing too, like I work with a lot of very like high performing individuals, whether they're in business or gambling or social media influencers who have substance use addictions. And I always tell people like if you've worked really hard to build this incredible lifestyle through your business, but you need drugs to sustain that lifestyle, to sustain the stress of work, to sustain your performance, there's something wrong with that lifestyle that you've built for yourself. Because if addiction is a problem and the consequences of addiction are a problem, eventually that lifestyle is no longer going to be sustainable. Right now, if you're using drugs and it's not a problem and addiction's not a problem and you're not having side effects, then by all means keep using drugs to be a good pro poker player, whatever it may be. Yeah, Terry, I appreciate it. Hey guys, what's up? Good to see you coming in from Canada. I appreciate the kind words. You bought some of my product and you're praying it stops his addictions. So here's a cool thing. So our product is awesome. My Kick It Crave Less chewing gum. I wouldn't have made it if it was a bad product. It's an incredible product. But I want you to tell your son this won't stop his addiction. Like it will help take the edge off, but it won't be the end all be all. It comes down to mindset. Now, your son might be extra motivated just by using the product, right? Aside from the fact that the ingredients in it work, there's going to be that extra motivation just from placebo effect. I'm doing something different to help me, right? But Terry, we still have to focus on mindset, even with the product, right? The product will help to lessen some of the withdrawals, the cravings, the anxiety, the irritability, but we still need the right mindset. And that's what we got to lock in on with your son. Um, how do I stop my body from craving weed or chewing tobacco every time I try to quit? Something takes over my mind and it makes me want to go out and buy it again and again. Uh, broth fat berry. You have to start by asking yourself, what is it you actually crave in life? It's your job to tell your mind what it is you want to get out of this life that you're living. What is it that you actually crave? And when you ask yourself that question, I think you're going to find that those cravings are the things that you actually crave in life are rooted in the reasons why you want to quit. Why do you want to quit weed? Why do you want to quit chewing tobacco? Is it better financial health, better physical health, better mental health, better relationships? Is it related to spiritual health and well being? What is it you actually crave in life? What is the reason why you're stopping? That's what you crave. So then you're going to say, well, why is my mind craving chewing tobacco and weed? Well, one, you're in a state of active addiction. The drug is actively floating through your body still. So you're going to crave it. Two, start to think of that as the addicted voice. Separate yourself from those cravings. Here's what I, Frank, actually crave. I crave being a good father. I crave being an influencer and impacting the lives of thousands, if not millions of people. I crave better financial health for myself and my family. That's what I crave. I don't crave drugs. That addicted voice, though, that might crave drugs, but I recognize that that's not me, and I'm able to differentiate myself from that. And that's what you have to practice. Practicing that combined with just time, and eventually those cravings are going to be less. But if you're in the first, like, 3 or 4 days of quitting, of course you have cravings. Of course it's a problem. um 1 month THC free for work, perfect job position I was offered. Awesome. That's fantastic. Congratulations, guys. I'm keeping up with the comments. And for those of you guys, shout out to Exploro. For those of you guys that are drug testing for jobs, I want to give them a plug just because they're one of our channel sponsors, and channel sponsors don't come along too often. Anyone who needs drug testing at home or has a drug test coming up, test at home and check out this Exploro. It's on Amazon. Highly sensitive 3-level THC urine test. Even if you're not testing for a drug test, just tracking your THC detox progress to stay motivated and accountable is a great thing to do when you're quitting. Okay, now let's see here, guys. All right, now let's go. How much electrolytes should one drink to feel normal after quitting? So that's a flawed question. I'm a fan of drinking electrolytes. I drink them every morning. I use those LMNT or whatever they are drinks. But like, if you're thinking that electrolytes are going to solve how you feel when you quit, you're putting all of your faith into a product and not into yourself and not into your own mindset. And that's eventually going to fail you. Okay. So I don't know how dehydrated you are. I don't know if you're throwing up. I don't know if you have diarrhea when you're quitting. I have no idea how many electrolytes you may need. But I know at the end of the day, electrolytes aren't going to, they might solve some of the discomfort you're having, but they're not going to solve this addiction and bring you back to feeling normal. Feeling normal is dependent on a number of different factors. It's dependent on the detox, then it's dependent upon the rate at which your brain neurochemistry is going to heal. So electrolytes aren't going to be the end all be all solution. And I just want to warn you that because I'm worried based on that comment that you're putting too much faith in electrolytes, carrying this for you. And I don't want you to fall for that. People fall for that. And I'm saying this as a guy that sells supplements to help people quit, okay? So, just think about the question you asked me and just think about what I said. Electrolytes are great. Drink electrolytes, they're going to help, but it's not going to be the solution to this. That's all. Right? Vaping is ridiculously hard for me to quit. I'm a chemical engineer working on cancer medications. I have the knowledge, but it's just stupid addictive to me. Izzy, nicotine is a very weak drug. It is addicting, but like it stays in your system for 3 to 5 days, maybe 14 by the time cotinine detoxes out of your system. And I think you have to ask yourself, Izzy, why is this addiction so stupid addictive to you? Um, I'm dropping a video this week about nicotine addiction and why we go into it with this mindset. And Izzy, I want you to think about it like this. If your whole life you've heard nothing but nicotine is this super drug and it's the most addicting thing in the world and quitting is impossible, you're going to be more inclined to think that quitting nicotine is impossible. But if I told you, like, hey, nicotine isn't actually like that, like, it's not a super drug, right? Um, and quitting is very attainable. I think quitting would actually appear to be much easier. Like, even if there's just some placebo associated with me telling you it's going to be easier, it's going to be easier. So that's one thing that I would say. Um, and then two, when it comes to nicotine, what have you tried doing, right? We always have to start with mindset, but like there's a ton of options. Like you could use nicotine replacement therapy, you could use supplementation, you could use pharmacological medication. I mean, like you could try a program, like there's so many options. So here's the thing too, guys, whether it's cannabis or nicotine, people say to me all the time, like, I'm trying so hard to quit. I'm trying so hard. And advice that a business mentor once gave me when I was building my business, I was like, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. And he was like, you think you're trying hard, but you actually really haven't tried much. And that really hit home for me. And I know a lot of people that I consult with that hits home for them too. So just think about all that stuff, Izzy, okay? Just some things. Um, Typically, it's a flip of a switch for people. The most common way people quit vaping, quit smoking, quit using drugs in general is through spontaneous recovery. They have that flip of a switch, it's mindset related, and they just stop, okay? Um, those who struggle beyond that, it's typically more related to, maybe there's some physical dependence, in which case maybe we are looking at nicotine replacement therapy, supplementation, things like that. But I don't know why, without knowing you, I don't know why it's such a struggle for you. So I'm just going on a riff here. Um, Now microdosing CBD after quitting weed helps save a lot of money and helps me all around. Great. Awesome. CBD microdosing, it's working for you quitting weed. Keep doing it. I love to hear it. I quit weed 30 days ago. I got the trifecta, which might be what? Cannabis, nicotine, and weed. Or if you're like me, you had the, cannabis, nicotine, weed, stimulants, adult media content. Who knows? Um, L-theanine, great supplement, just like anything, right? L-theanine, saffron, KSM 66 ashwagandha, N-acetyl-16, nicotinamide. I mean, there's a B vitamin, nicotinamide, niacinamide. There's so many things out there that you could use that could potentially help. But again, when it comes to supplements, whether you're using my product, my Kick It Crave Less chewing gum or something else, I don't want you putting all your faith into a supplement. When it comes to quitting substances, you should have faith in yourself and your own ability to make rational choices for yourself and remain committed to that decision that you made. That's what you put your faith in, not in any single product. I gained 15 pounds since quitting smoking. Cream, I would tell you, well then, we got to work on the nutrition. That's all. Like, no big deal. Um, no big deal. We can fix that, right? Like, okay, you gained 15 pounds. No problem. Let's fix that. Um, yeah, you can ask long questions, guys. I don't mind. Thank you for all the kind words about the video, guys. I really appreciate that. Um, all right, let's see here. Physical symptoms near the end of my cannabis addiction. Yeah, so you had symptoms similar to Lyme disease. I was getting tested for almost every autoimmune disease out there, right? Like I had numbness and tingling throughout my body. I had joint pain. I had crazy fatigue. I had crazy digestive issues. And there's a reason why this is. So cannabis, when you consume it, impacts your endocannabinoid system. And they're even starting to connect autoimmune diseases to endocannabinoid system dysregulation. Okay. So I don't think it's any surprise that cannabis withdrawal or cannabis substance abuse can mimic autoimmune disease. I was seeing neurologists, I was seeing rheumatologists. At one point, they sent me to an oncologist. So yeah, I was probably experiencing very similar things to yourself, okay? Um, but, it I had an option. The option was stop consuming cannabis, see if the symptoms go away. If the symptoms go away, then there was my answer. If the symptoms didn't go away, then maybe I had been using cannabis to cover up for some other underlying issue that needed to be addressed, right? So, all stuff to think about though. Great questions. Day 79, no cigarettes, kicking ass. I love to see it. I love to see it. Okay, let's see here. Shout out to you guys. A lot of people shouting me out in the comments. I really appreciate it. Um, I really, really do. But like shout out to you guys too that like support the channel, support the products, support the programs because without you guys, none of this would exist. So I appreciate you guys just as much as you do me. King Smoke says, smoking weed is the reason I'm successful. This dude is hating. I don't think I've ever hated on weed. I think I hate on I don't know if I hate on anything. I think I'm more focused on helping people who are struggling with a substance use disorder. King Smoke, I know someone who's very successful that is an avid cannabis consumer, the Cali Plug on Instagram. And I know we have a podcast coming up together soon to talk, and he's a big fan of my content. He doesn't see any hate, so I don't know if that's your perception of what I'm saying or if it's something that I actually said. I'm from Moscow. Huge problem here with vapes. Your videos help me quit. Thank you. Spread my videos all around the world. Awesome to have people from Canada, Moscow, everywhere. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sober Leon. I'm a fan of Sober Leon. He makes a lot of content surrounding alcohol. I like Sober Leon. He's a good dude. As far as I know, right? I like his stuff. He puts out. He has paid programs just like I do for people who want to go to that next level. And you guys can learn about our programs by checking the link in this replay video description or going to addictionmindset.com and you can get on our email list and stay up to date about our products and programs if you need help. But he puts out a ton of free content for people. He's helping a lot of people. Raul still going strong. Depends on the person, but getting off the weed definitely benefited my life for the better. Yeah, 100%. I had a very similar experience, right? It's awesome. Um, okay, let's see here. Weed is good. Great advice, 207 days. Okay, okay. Yeah, yep. Okay, let's see here. Is it worth it to strive for moderation or should it be an all or nothing? Great question. Let's talk about moderation a little bit. So, if I wanted to moderate cannabis use, and let's put the cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome aside, let's put aside the fact that I had an acute state of psychosis towards the end of my addiction. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I am 100% confident I could moderate cannabis, and I would moderate cannabis use if I wanted to. Here's the thing, since quitting, I have built a lifestyle for myself in which I feel absolutely zero desire to moderate cannabis. Now, at what point would I explore moderation if I was talking to someone? I think you have to get to a point where you're comfortable sober and where you can find enjoyment in life sober in order to successfully moderate. That's one. Two, I think you have to be fully free of the mindset that you are addicted and that you suffer from a disease called addiction. Because if you think you suffer from this disease called addiction and you think that you're not capable of moderation because you have a disease that is addiction, you will never successfully be able to moderate. Okay. If you struggled with a cannabis substance use disorder and you've stopped for a period of time and nothing in your life has changed, your environment hasn't changed, your hobbies haven't changed, your mindset hasn't changed, the chances of being able to moderate are slim to none. Now, for me, being several years quit, lots of stuff in my life has changed. I don't, right? I'm in a totally different place than I was 9 years ago in my life. And that's largely from quitting drugs. But like, that's why I could probably moderate. That's why I know I could moderate if I wanted to. The fact of the matter is I have no desire to moderate. And I think thinking about moderation when you first quit, for some people can be a very comforting thought, right? Because the idea of all or nothing in some cases is very overwhelming to some people. So thinking like, hey, I'm gonna quit so I can go to moderation one day responsibly is a lot easier for some people to swallow. It's a lot easier of a pill to swallow. Um, for others, for me, when I quit, I actually preferred the take of I'm never going to smoke again because then I was like, you know what? I don't have to think about this. I don't have to worry about moderation. I can just start focusing on my business, my family, my physical health. As long as I don't touch this drug again, I don't got to worry about all the BS that was created from abusing this substance. So that's my take on moderation. Not against it, not for it. It just depends on the individual and the mindset that they're in. And guys, this is what we do in our coaching programs with people. Like these are conversations that I have with people every day, but it's hard for me to give general answers based off of comments because everyone's relationship with the substance is going to be so different. So okay, let's see here. Okay. If I could put that smell into a brick or cube, take a bite out of it. Sugar is addictive. Yes, it is. Okay, let's see here. Alcohol is rage like crazy. Getting sober even lets you see how badly some people are treating you. Yeah, that was a huge thing for me. Like, I mean, when I quit smoking cannabis, I had a lot of to some extent anger. I had a lot of irritability, but I realized something. Under active addiction, I was a very vulnerable individual and people were taking advantage of that vulnerability, right? When I was in active addiction, people often frame people who struggle with addiction as very selfish and it's all about them. It wasn't. I've always been a very giving person. I've been too giving of my time, of my energy, of my efforts. And I find most people who struggle with addiction are like this. They're very empathetic, they're extremely caring, and they say yes to everything and everyone. When I quit, I cut that bullshit out. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm done trying to appease everyone. I'm done trying to make everyone happy. I'm done sacrificing my own time, my own energy, my own life for everyone else. And it's time that I'm going to start to take care of myself because if I don't take care of myself, I'm never going to be able to help anyone else. And that was a major thing that I realized. And look, it wasn't just in personal relationships that I was getting taken advantage of. It was in business relationships, personal relationships, financial think people that I had financial relationships with. I was getting put through the ringer and I didn't see it because I was under the guise of active addiction, right? I was so focused on that. I didn't even understand the extent that I was getting taken advantage of in other aspects of my life. And I find that to be the case for a lot of people. Um, in your personal journey since quitting, when did you start to feel comfortable being sober? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? I'll say like probably 2 years or no, probably a year. I think a year is probably a good trademark for it. But like on the same note, man, it depends on what you're asking me. When did I feel comfortable sober? Like, are you asking about when did I get through the withdrawals? Because that was sooner than a year. Maybe that was after a few months I was feeling kind of back to normal. But like, when did I feel comfortable sober? I'd say it was a year. And this is why I talk about this in my videos. And this is so important, guys, to have proper expectations when you go into quitting a substance. A lot of times people go into quitting and they don't have proper expectations. And then that's what leads to them making the decision, not relapsing, making the decision to going back to consuming the drug. Um, I think it's a year for most people because it takes about a year to go through life's experiences, right? You have to go through that first winter sober. You have to go through that first holiday party sober. You have to experience that first loss in life sober. You have to go through that first celebration sober. And like, I think it's about a year to go through the different experiences and the highs and the lows that life is going to throw at you and you have to go through those again and again and again and experience it sober. Someone just threw me $4. I really appreciate 4.99. I really, really appreciate that. That was kind of you. You guys don't have to do that, but that's super kind of you. So I hope that answered your question. And like you're asking me when was I feeling comfortable being sober? I just made a post about this and I think I made a video about this. My goal was never to be sober. Like my goal was to fix all these other problems in my life that I had going on. And sobriety was just a clear step that I had to take in order to fix those other problems, relationship problems, financial problems, business problems, physical health problems. And some of those things took longer than a year, right? Like learning how to be in a healthy relationship took longer than a year. Um, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never been like terribly unsuccessful. Like I've always been pretty successful. And like I mean, you're asking me like how long did it take to fix that? Shoot, I'm still trying to fix that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's such a good question. It's such a good question. But again, it's going to depend on like what's the point in you getting sober? What are you hoping to get out of sobriety? Because those things might take longer than quote unquote getting sober, right? Getting sober can happen overnight. Detoxing might take a few weeks, but getting sober and making that decision, it can happen in an instant. So I hope that helps. Thank you guys so much for those donations. It's really kind of you. Um, you're claiming that inhaling anything but air is good. I don't know what that means. Okay. The brain fog of smoking. Let's see here. Um, Okay, let's see here. I don't use the word relapse. Yeah, I agree with you not using the word relapse. I think you're better off saying, I've made the choice to consume the substance again. If you're saying you relapsed, what you're actually saying is that you've spontaneously combusted into using a substance again. Give yourself some freaking credit. Like, you are an intelligent human being who's probably been through multiple struggles and overcome multiple things in your life. You are not just a leaf blowing in the wind that has spontaneous BS happening to you. So, like, take accountability for the decision to consume the drug again. There's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that drug consumption and a return to it is causing problems, it is worth asking yourself, why did I choose to go and do this again? Why am I making this choice? I would rather take onus for that than blame it on the disease of addiction and spontaneous relapse just occurred. No, it didn't. When I relapsed, it was obvious, like many times. Oh, it was a celebratory thing. It was a depressing thing. Like, Mm, it's not spontaneous that I got in my car, drove to the gas station, drove to the vape shop, bought a pre-roll, bought a lighter, lit it up, smoked it. Like, nothing of that's spontaneous. I made a very logical decision in my mind at the time. Right. So I agree with you on the word relapse. I don't like it. Okay, I want to answer Tactful's question because it's highlighted here from the donation. Why do I get super hyper aware of everything and paranoid when I'm high? Okay, this is really important. And I'll also get really weird physical pains around my body when I'm high. So I don't know for sure. I don't know your whole health history. I don't know a lot about you, but I do know this. That paranoia and hyper awareness is often an early symptom of psychosis. And I would tell you, your brain is warning you that this is a problem, that continued smoking is a problem. Cannabis does this beautiful thing where it warns us when it's a problem. And this would be one of those things. A lot of people don't know that, but paranoia is often one of the first symptoms associated with psychosis. I didn't know that until I interviewed a psychiatrist on this topic recently. And I'm interviewing another psychiatrist on this topic in like a month from now, but they're going to say the same thing. So I would tell you that's a major red flag, Tactful. The physical body pains, again, I don't know. It could be because of dysregulation of your endocannabinoid system, which is largely responsible for the pain perception and pain response and pain control. It could be an early onset of stage one cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. There's a number of reasons why, but I can tell you, those that cannabis is trying to tell you that it's not working out between you and the plant right now. So I would heed to those warnings. Um, so there you go. I love reading this. Papa Cal. 47 days off quitting. I was a people pleaser. Someone just rejected my claim for PTSD after being threatened at work. Normally I'd fold, but not this time. That's right. We don't fold anymore. I don't fold, right? You guys see it on my channel. I get like ragged on and people come in the comments and they, harass me. I don't fold. I don't fold. All right, let's see here. Dreams will be intense in the first few weeks. That's true. That's a very common side effect. Vivid dreams. It's that when you're quitting cannabis, it's that rebound of REM sleep. Yeah, holidays. Holidays can be a trigger. Sure. For me, breathing was a trigger, right? People be like, avoid triggers. I'm like, avoid triggers. I would wake up and take my first breath, and I was triggered to jack off, smoke weed, and vape. Like, just breathing was triggering for me. So like, I don't even believe in triggers, right? Like, it's just like pattern and habit associations. That's all it is. Holidays are tough. Like, I now to your point, I get what you're saying, but I'll tell you, it gets easier. Like, the first holiday, the second holiday, yeah, it might suck. But the third, fourth, fifth, and the more you practice sobriety, the better you're going to get at it. I often refer to sobriety as a practice, it's a discipline, right? And you can when you build that discipline and sobriety, by the way, you can transfer that to your business, you can transfer that to your relationship, you can transfer it to your physical fitness, right? It's an awesome thing. But that's all. Holidays get easier the more you practice going through holidays, getting sober. People say to me, they're like, I'm not disciplined. I can't quit weed. I'm like, okay, how are we going to get disciplined? And they're like, I don't know. I'm not disciplined. I'm like, okay, we got to pick something that requires discipline. And you just have to practice being disciplined in it. Now, in some cases, we start with quitting weed. In other cases, I'll work with clients and I'll say, you know what, that's too much for you right now. So let's pick something simpler Maybe it's a dietary change, maybe it's an exercise routine, maybe it's a work routine. And I'm like, let's just practice that for a few weeks. Let's get that discipline muscle developing. And then once it's developed, we'll revisit quitting weed. This is how we help people when we do our coaching programs. And again, for you guys that are enjoying this, please check out the link in the video description or visit addictionmindset.com to learn more about our programs and things that we offer people. Okay. What was the worst for you to quit? Nicotine, weed, or adult media content? Um, I'd say cannabis was the worst because that's probably what I had the strongest physical dependence to. I think nicotine was probably the most annoying thing to quit. And adult media content wasn't the worst, but it was the addiction that dragged out for the longest period of time. But like when I quit weed, like my adult media content consumption went down so significantly that the times I did watch it, it wasn't really problematic anymore. So, like, was I proud of it? No, but it wasn't like an everyday problematic thing like it was when I was consuming cannabis. So, excellent question. I should make a full video on that. Months sober from nicotine and almost a year clean from weed. Look at that. 3 months clean from nicotine and came off Chantix. Much easier than I thought. Yeah, so many people, guys, go into quitting substances and they think it's going to be impossible and they think it's going to be this, impossible task. And it's really not. For some people, it's going to be a lot easier than they think it's going to be. Um, okay, let's see here. After 10 years of daily use, 8 months sober, except for shots a couple times. Awesome. I've been smoking weed 10 years every day, 100 days sober. I work a really stressful job and have a stutter. My speech is so bad at the moment. I'm not sure what you're telling me, 42. So is your speech bad as a side effect from quitting cannabis? And if so, is that related to cannabis or is there something else going on there? I think there's a lot of question. I'm just not sure where to take that comment. I'm not really sure what to make of that. Um okay. Okay, let's see here. Um you need to ask yourself if you truly want to quit. It's not crack cocaine, but it can be tough. But you can quit if you keep trying. So yeah, I so drugs are a really interesting topic. Okay, there's studies out there on drugs that are quote unquote super addicting. Okay, they've done extensive studies on opium. Okay, and it was really fascinating. They looked at war veterans over in Vietnam who were using opioids and opium, and a lot of them just stopped. They would use opium and they would just stop. And then they took war veterans who were using opioids when they came back to the US and they were put into all these recovery programs and treatment centers and all this stuff. And they struggled like hell to stop. And it was like, why is that? They're using the same drug, but it's just two different environments. And it had to do with the different mindsets that the soldiers in Vietnam had and the perspective they had on opium compared to the perspective that the soldiers back in the US were being force fed by treatment centers and physicians and things like that. So I could really take you down a rabbit hole on that conversation of what drug is actually addicting. How do we define addiction? It's a mindset. Right? There's physical dependence to a substance, but addiction and the concept of being addicted to a drug is largely rooted in a person's mindset and how they approach this. So I think that makes sense. Um, as far as it can be tough, but you can quit smoking if you keep trying. This is absolutely true. I think most people aren't actually trying when we sit down and look at it. And I fell for that mistake before too. But more so, I think you have to ask yourself, is quitting within the realm of physical possibility? Is quitting a drug going to defy the laws of physics? And the answer is no. It's very blatantly no. There's millions of people who quit millions of different substances every year. And there's people who are literally on their deathbeds who come back to life after substance use. So I think what happens is a lot of people fall into this mindset because of a few failed attempts. And remember, the road to success is often paved in failure. I want to remind everyone of that. And they then come up with this idea that quitting's impossible, and it's BS because just look at the laws of physics. If it can be physically done, and someone else has achieved it, then why can't you? so many of you guys are brilliant, bright, strong individuals in here. And I think sometimes we just need to be reminded of that. Um, how do I deal with friends who also use cannabis when I've quit for a month? I got friends that use cannabis. I got friends that drink energy drinks and alcohol, and I'm around the stuff, right? It's part of society. I think you have to ask yourself, do you want to be influenced or do you want to be the person who influences? Do you want to live your life as a consumer, or do you want to live your life making decisions for yourself based on your own thought patterns and things like that? I also think you have to look at your friends and ask yourself, not judge, but ask yourself, do they have the same goals as you? Do they share the same ideologies as you do? There's a chance they might not, and that's okay. I mean, look, I'm happy to let someone else influence me that's going to be a positive influence on my life. But if I'm looking at people and they're making decisions and those people aren't in a position that I want to be in, then I'm not going to take advice from that individual, right? So someone could sit here and say, Frank, smoke weed. Weed's the best thing in the world, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to look at that person and I'm going to say, are you living a life that I want to live? And if the answer is no, then A, I'm not going to listen to you. And B, I'm certainly not going to take the same actions that you're currently taking. In fact, I'm probably going to go do the opposite. So thanks for teaching me something. You taught me how what I don't want to be doing. So I hope that helps when it comes to your friends. Okay, let's see here. Um, yeah, I agree with you, King Smoke. Lifting weights is a wonderful thing. But if you're early in quitting, you might want to take it easy on the lifting weights because sometimes that can be a little tough. It can be like a little overstimulating on the body when you're going through detox and withdrawal. Because weightlifting can be a source of physical stress on your body. And if your body's already maximally physically stressed from quitting a substance, you might not want to increase that stress or that might throw things overboard. Again, another shout out to one of our channel sponsors. If you are quitting cannabis and you have a drug test coming up, remember working out has the ability to release some extra THC from your fat cells. So, drug test at home. If you got a drug test coming up, go on Amazon, check out Exploro highly sensitive THC test strips, test at home. And even if you don't have a drug test coming up, test at home to track your quitting progress. It will help keep you motivated and help keep you accountable. Alan Carr is great. I'm a big fan of Alan Carr's books. I just gave his books a shout out in one of my videos. Here's the problem with Alan Carr's stuff. Alan Carr says the easy way to quit smoking. And I love that because I love the idea that it's an easy approach. What will happen though is some people will read the book, they'll quit, and then they'll go back to substance use. And then they'll read the book again, they'll quit, and they'll go back to it. They'll read it a third time, and this time they can't quit. And what happens is they'll be like, damn, this isn't easy. And he's telling me it's going to be easy and it's not easy. So I must be different. There must be something wrong with me. Alan Carr doesn't get it. Alan Carr doesn't know me. And they wind up in this like weird place where, like, again, they begin to think that like quitting is beyond the laws of physical capabilities, beyond the laws of physics. And that can get really tricky for some people. So, as much as I like Alan Carr's stuff, I've had tons of coaching clients that I've worked with, and I've read all his books. Okay. I have Easy Way to Quit Alcohol, Easy Way to Quit Cannabis, Easy Way to Quit Tobacco. I have all of them. Easy Way to Quit Vaping. I like them. I like them that they help to devalue the substance. But I think there's, again, and this comes with any program, mine included, some danger in it because you're telling someone it's going to be easy. And what if it's not easy for that person? Then we just made quitting actually significantly harder for them. So that's the only thing. Um, Okay, let's see here. My world is at a level which is satisfying. My mindset tricks the world, but I do not mean to. I'm not sure what that means. I'm trying to remember that with my daughter, she has stumbled so many times, and with CHS, it's a very scary mistake. I'm needing counseling because of all the things she's done to herself. Yes, Stacy, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's so hard for family members, and I hope your daughter finds the help that she needs or that she's able to get the help that she needs. And Stacy, if your daughter's ever open to it, we're more than happy to work with her in our programs and see if it would be a good fit. But yeah, you as a parent need support. Stacy, check out everybrainmatters.org. They have phenomenal family support groups there for family members that are struggling with someone who's dealing with cannabis addiction. I know the owner of the non-for-profit foundation, everybrainmatters.org. So go please, Stacy, check that place out for some support. Okay. Um, Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see. Quit and lapsed over 100 times now. Will the cycle ever stop? Yeah, the cycle will stop as soon as you put a stop to it. I mean, I it here's the thing. Will the cycle ever stop? Are you asking me what's going to come along and stop the cycle? Or are you asking me how do you stop the cycle? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to you. So many people, and I'm going to go back to supplements and other things. And this is coming from a guy that sells a supplement to help people quit weed, kick it, crave less chewing gum. Type that in on Google and check out our product if you need help with the withdrawals. But so many times people will go into this and be like, "Oh, what's gonna be the thing that works? What's the program? What's the supplement? What's the medication? What's the quote that's gonna fix this for me?" Nothing. Like, some of that might get you motivated, some of it might get you going, but, like, nothing. You and your mindset are going to fix yourself. It is completely okay to ask for help. It is completely okay to seek advice from people who have been there before and done it before. That's why we have coaching programs. But, like, at the end of the day, it's you. And the last thing I want anyone doing is putting all of their faith in the thing that's going to fix. I could even go into religion, right? Even in religion, we have free will, right? If you're of religious belief, you have to understand you have free will. That's what was given to you, the power of choice, the freedom to choose. Okay, the freedom of your own decision making. So no matter what scenario you're in, it comes down to you. So what's going to change about you that's going to stop this cycle from happening over and over again? And I can guarantee you, in any of these situations, with supplements, without supplements, with medication, without medication, it's going to be the mindset. That's what it's going to be. Okay. um so, and then I could go even deeper down to the lapse, don't lapse, lapse, don't lapse. I've lapsed 1,000 times. Maybe we need to reassess what your end goal is. Should your end goal be complete sobriety, or should your end goal be moderation? Should you even be trying to stop at all? I don't know. I think it depends on the person, right? Um I think I might break. I think I can't make it. Um I think you can. I think you can make it. I think you have to remind yourself that you are a strong individual. So many people forget this in active addiction. I've talked to so many brilliant people over the years in my programs and met so many brilliant people online. And people often forget just how strong they are because addiction makes us feel weak. And there's a reason it makes us feel weak, right? If you're smoking weed to run away from your problems and to cope with life, and that's not what everyone does. There's a lot of people who smoke weed who don't do that. They might do it recreationally or for other reasons. That makes you weaker. When you don't face things, when you don't take things head on, when you don't go through stuff, it does in fact make you weaker. And it can break people, but you're stronger than you realize. And I think sometimes you just need to be reminded of that. Okay. Um, Okay, let's see here. All right, good. Now, okay. Um, if you don't think moderation is possible, then moderation is not possible. If you don't feel that moderation is possible, do not try and moderate, because it's not possible then. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. That's what I would say to that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. All right, you said mindset, nothing about it. Let's see. Okay. Someday the last time you did will have to be the last time. I'm hitting the bong right now. Okay. Um 60 days sober from weed. I'm a guitarist and is the first guitar to be endorsed by a cannabis company. Just look for Chris Hart. Fantastic. Um That's pretty cool. That's awesome. 60 days sober and getting endorsed by a cannabis company. Congratulations on that. That's a huge accomplishment. Props on that. There's a funny thing. A lot of people in music and business and stuff, they'll say to me, cannabis helps with my creativity. And I'm like, yeah, it might, but like, what's creativity worth without output, right? I could have the most creative ideas in the world stoned, but if I don't follow through on those ideas, then what are those ideas worth? Right? So when it comes to like creativity for people in cannabis use, I think you have to keep that in mind. what is the value in a creative idea if that idea never comes to life? And that's one of the major things that I talk to people about when we're talking about cannabis addiction, especially related to like music or professional life or artists, something like that. Um, Bad times don't last, and good times come if you try hard enough. Yeah, that's very true, Izzy. I mean that's very true. And listen, like this is life. People contact me, guys. I went through recently what was probably, I don't know, two of the hardest parts of my life. Like we had some terrible things happen in my family recently. And like at the end of the day, I just understand like there's going to be bad times, there's going to be good times. When times are good, I really try and embrace them because I know bad times are going to come again. And when times are bad, I say to myself, well, next time I run into a good streak, I'm really going to try and embrace that. You know what's fascinating about the bad times right now? I being sober, I can't fathom going through the bad times, smoking weed and being drugged up. And it's wild for me to say because there was a point in my life where I couldn't fathom going through the bad times sober. Um, and now I look back and I'm like, how could I not be sober during all this stuff going on in life? Like, how could I not be sober and clear headed? I'd break, I'd fall apart if I wasn't sober. It'd be too much. So anyways, little rant there. Um, okay, let's see here. 6 months free from weed, and your videos really helped. Awesome, awesome. Happy to help you guys. Over 8 months. Look at all these people. Look at this. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Um, Weed for a week, and I'm in full blown psychosis every day. My parents want to put me in a mental hospital. Go to the hospital. I mean, honestly, if you're really in full blown psychosis, go to the hospital and get treated. I'll say that's it's not a reason to stop you from quitting. And like obviously you're coherent enough to be here. So like go get the medical help that you need, get better, and then continue. No problem. No problem. Get the help that you need to get. It's no issue. Um, okay, let's see here. All I do is smoke to escape from doing the work I need to do. Yeah, I think a lot of people will say, and I used to think this, smoking is an escape for me. And it's really not. It's a distraction. It's a form of procrastination in many cases. And like it sucks because the more you procrastinate, the more your problems build up. And the more you smoke, maybe you do cross into having a substance use disorder. And now you're trying to manage all the problems that you procrastinated on top of the substance use disorder. And what wound up happening for me was I got so good at managing my weed addiction. I got to a point in life where I would have rather tried to manage that than face all the other problems that I had going on in my life, my business, my relationship, my physical health. I got so good at being addicted and quitting and being addicted and quitting. I was like, as long as I have this problem, I'm not going to address anything else in my life. And it was just a massive distraction, which is terrible. Because, I eventually quit. I started to build the life that I wanted: health, wealth, relationships, happiness, all that stuff. And now I'm like, oh, I don't really feel the need to escape as much anymore. If I had just focused on building the things I want, maybe I wouldn't have felt like I needed to get away from all the time. Um, and yeah, bad times do lead to growth. 100%. Like, I mean, good times do too, but like, yes, you tend to grow in struggle, physical struggle, psychological struggle, right? It either breaks you or it makes you stronger. Like, there's a lot of truth to that. It just there is. Um, okay, let's see here. Use vapes to quit smoking. Now Zins to quit the vape. Congratulations. That's awesome. Um, okay, let's see here. Please talk about adult media content addiction. We'll save that for another one, guys. Okay. I think does stopping smoking weed and tobacco cause you to cause cold feet? Yeah, it definitely can. Yeah. Cold feet and cold, yeah, 100%. That's a common symptom when you quit. Very common. Yes. Um, okay, let's see here. Feeling depressed, 26 days sober. Don't focus on the short-term results, focus on the long-term outcomes, okay? Um, 26 days, awesome, but it's 26 days. Focus on the long-term stuff, all right? chances are there was some things in active addiction that were depressing too. You just might not have been as aware of it because you were under the influence of the drug. So now you're kind of going through it and actually working towards a solution to it, right? And I know it's not the most enjoyable experience, but I promise if you can get through that experience, it in 99% of cases it will be worth it, okay? And understanding, why do you feel depressed? Just take a step back. Your body's going through detox, your brain and your body's going through withdrawal. Your brain's trying to rebalance. You probably have insomnia. You're probably exhausted. You're probably feeling some anhedonia, lack of joy in life because of that dopamine crash. Like, probably makes sense that you're feeling depressed at 26 days. And I'm not telling you like that's a good thing. I'm just telling you like rationalize why you feel that way, and then that feeling won't be as overwhelming. At least that's what I found throughout my quitting process. Okay. Um, okay, let's see here. I quit with the Lucy gum, the 528 necklace. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm thrilled to hear that. Yeah, guys, remember too, we don't just make chewing gum. I got a meditation necklace. I have another necklace that mimics taking a hit off of a vape. Again, none of these things are miracle things, but they should definitely help. All right, guys, I have to bounce. This was a lot of fun. I really, yeah, attempt the patches if you're really struggling. No, the chances of you getting addicted to patches, nicotine patches, are very, very, very slim. Okay. Um, and here's the thing on nicotine patches, even if you do get addicted to them, you're probably still going to have a significantly better quality of life, right? Like, so I would not stress over that. And if, yeah, I usually recommend doing like a 7 milligram patch and using like either our chewing gum supplement or buying capsules online, ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine, and that combination tends to work really well. Sim Famous, that was so kind of you. Thanks for the $10. That was really kind of you. That's you guys don't have to do that, but it does help. It really does help the channel. Um, quick question before I leave. What's the timeline? How many days till I feel normal? Blazer, I don't know how long it's going to be till you feel normal after quitting vaping. Here's the deal. Nicotine detox, 3 to 14 days, okay? Nicotine withdrawal, which is different from detox, the period of time that's going to take your brain to heal, maybe up to 90 days. But like, I don't know what you're trying to fix in quitting vaping. Like, I don't know what you're dealing with outside of those two things. But generic answer for most people within 90 days, they're going to be doing better. And that goes for a lot of drugs. And it sounds like a long time, but it's not a long time. It's not a long time. This is a major problem. Okay, we have to address this right now. Do you guys, I can only relate this back to my business. It took me, I literally think 3 years to get noticed on YouTube. It took me literally 400 videos and 3 years of making videos every day to even get noticed. Okay? Um, when we're talking about life, building a meaningful relationship, deepening our faith practice, if you're into that, building a better body, right? Um, This takes time. These things take a long time and they take a lot of dedication. 90 days is incredible. And I understand how it can sound overwhelming. I was once overwhelmed by that, but this is a drop in the bucket. And that is a very dangerous mindset to say 90 days, that sounds like it's too hard. That is an inherent flaw with delayed gratification, and that's a mindset problem. I had the same problem. I'm not insulting you for that. I'm not calling you out for that. I'm telling you I know where you're coming from and I know what that feels like, and that is a major problem, and that can bite you in your ass in other aspects of life. Because let's say you want to go do this business thing or you want to go do this relationship thing and you're like, "Oh, I've been working at it for 3 weeks and it's been so long." No, no, it hasn't. It hasn't been that long. No. So just keep that in mind, okay? I hope that helps you out. Um okay. Uh yeah, imagine spending the rest of your life trying to quit. A single decision shouldn't take a lifetime, and this is what we help people with in our programs. A single decision should not last a lifetime. Um, yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. I'm really happy to see everyone. This was a fun live. I'm getting ready to get on a flight tomorrow, so I just wanted to do a live for everyone before we took off because I don't know how much I will. I'll probably try and come back, but I really appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate all the kind words. You guys are kicking butt. And I think that's it for now. Until next time, be sure to check that link in the video description. If you want our supplements, kickitrevolution.com, our coaching, addictionmindset.com. And then please, if you need nicotine detox testing or cannabis at home drug testing, check out and show our channel sponsor some love, Exploro. They make test kits for nicotine and cannabis. And if you need that, please do. Bye, guys.